Welcome to this episode of Q&A with Liturgy Man. I'm Taylor Burton-Edwards, Liturgy Man, your Director of Worship Resources with Discipleship Ministries of the United Methodist Church. I am your apportionment dollars at work to help you strengthen worship and the understanding of worship where you are. Today's question comes to us from Susan Brown, a United Methodist pastor in the East Ohio Annual Conference, who wonders whether United Methodists have an official position on the use of the American flag in United Methodist worship spaces in the United States. The answer to that question is we do not. So it really is up to congregations and pastors together to understand what are the issues involved and make their own decision about whether and how, and if not, then don't, to use the American flag in worship spaces in the United States. The more important question, I think, is not whether you use it or not. The more important question is for you to be clear about why you use it or not. And here's why. The American flag is a very potent symbol that brings lots of associations with it in people's minds. Whether you use it in your worship space or do not use it in your worship space, its presence or absence will convey something to people. And if you're not clear about why you're making your decision about whether or not or how to use the flag, people will supply their own, which may in fact be at odds with what you intend. So the more important thing is to be clear about why you use the American flag or don't in your worship space. Here are some good reasons to consider using the American flag in your worship space. One is, as United Methodists, we understand ourselves to be engaged in public worship to which everyone is invited. In most places of public assembly in the United States, the American flag is present and sort of functions as a sign that everyone is welcome here because we are a diverse country that welcomes all kinds of people. So that might be a good reason to consider explaining why you might wish to include it in your worship space. Another reason you might consider including it might be called an acculturation reason, and that is having the American flag there identifies that we understand and consciously understand that as we offer our worship as Christians in this place, we do so as people who have been formed in this country and by this country. And that actually can also help us to appreciate and value the fact that people in other countries are formed in different ways, and so may offer worship differently because of their different formation in other places. And if we do that well, then this is a way of affirming the diversity and the beauty of the diversity of the church around the whole world. So these are a couple of reasons you might consider to include the American flag in your worship space. Here are a couple of reasons to think you might not want to. One is kind of related to what I suggested earlier about how potent that symbol is. One of the realities of the American flag as it's used in public ritual, when it's processed or moved around in public ritual, very often those public rituals where that occurs are places in which there is an honoring of people who have died in wars or in military service or in other kinds of service as having offered the ultimate sacrifice. For Christians, the ultimate sacrifice is not to die in war. The ultimate sacrifice is Christ's self-offering for us, and then our offering for the sake of the gospel, in obedience to Christ as we are called to invest our lives and give our lives and lay down our lives for others. And so there's a confusion of symbols there that by having the American flag present might lead to some concern. Another concern is kind of related to the second thing that is actually an argument for having the flag there, and that is that having the American flag there could become a symbol that we value our American experience above our Christian experience, especially if we place the American flag in a place of more prominence, as the U.S. Flag Code calls us to do, than we might place other flags or symbols of our faith. These are just some of the reasons you might consider for including or not including the American flag in your worship space. I want to direct you to a more extensive article that explores some of these things and a few others in greater detail. And that's on our blog site at blog.umcdiscipleship.org. Go to the search bar and look up on U.S. flags in U.S. United Methodist Worship spaces, or you just put in U.S. flags, it'll probably work, and you can see that article. I hope this has been helpful. Remember, you can always reach me, worship@umcdiscipleship.org, through our UMC Worship Facebook group, or just drop a line here on this page, and perhaps your question or comment may become the basis of a future episode of Q&A with Liturgy Man. May the peace of Christ be always with you.